July sees two massive movies hitting the big screen with Barbie and Oppenheimer. One is the terrifying story of a man-made invention that brought society to its knees, and the other is about the atom bomb. However, wrestling fans have already been treated to iconic cinema this month with last Friday's trial of Roman Reigns on SmackDown. After the bloodline in the sand was drawn at Money in the Bank, Jimmy and Jey Uso left the UK with a plan to bring Roman Reigns down. They also left with duty-free Yorkshire tea bags for Ridge Holland and 15 jars of Bovril for Seth Rollins. On the Monday after Money in the Bank, the Usos tweeted that the tribal chief would stand trial for crimes against the family when SmackDown rolled into the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden in New York City. That Kanga-Oos court would come to order in the opening minutes of that Friday's blue-branded broadcast, with Roman Reigns flanked by Solo Sikoa and Paul Heyman, witnessing evidence put forward by Jimmy and Jey that proved his misconduct as a leader in the form of a beautifully constructed video package. Reigns seemed mentally done with being leader and placed the Ula Fala around the neck of main event Jey Uso, threw his undisputed WWE title to the ground and took the knee for the ones. What appeared to be acknowledgement turned out to be admonishment as Roman Reigns lifted an imaginary Best Actor in a Short Film Oscar right into the Golden Globes of Jey Uso. Jimmy Uso came to the rescue but was apprehended by Solo Sikoa, leading into the younger Uso grabbing the Ula Fala from the canvas and holding it for just long enough for us to play Fantasy Tribal Chief, before he returned the Pandana fruit seeds to Roman Reigns. From here, Solo Sikoa held Jey Uso in place, tied up in the ropes, making him watch as the head of the bloodline attempted to line the ringside with Jimmy's blood. With the help of some steel steps, Solo put the full stop on this family affair with a body splash on Jimmy through the announce table, a finish he was unable to accomplish on Saturday in London. When Jey broke free, all he could do was hold his brother's hand as he was stretched out of the garden and driven away to a nearby hospital. All the participants in this predicament have been etched into WWE history books. Roman Reigns 1,000 plus days as big dog top dog, Jimmy and Jey Uso as record smashing tag team champions, and Solo Sikoa with a main roster breakout year to rival the likes of Kurt Angle. This Samoan domestic dispute, this hierarchical hammering, has already made WWE history. For starts, the segment dominated just shy of 40 minutes of SmackDown on Friday night, one of the longest singular episodic angles in SmackDown history, up there with when Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar had that Iron Man belter in 2003. LA Knight, who's been getting monstrous reactions on the weekly, had a dark segment shared on WWE's YouTube channel when he rolled into the Garden, and there's speculation that the return of Carlito was bumped to make substantial room for the tribal court to breathe. Whilst the feeling was this would go the distance time-wise, it led to tweaks and cuts for the rest of the night because it covered a little more distance than it was supposed to. Regardless, the overwhelming majority of people who tuned in were encapsulated by the tribal contretemps. Four superstars deeply woven into one of WWE's richest tapestries, definitively being ripped asunder, saw one noun being used online over and over again: cinema. There are indeed some in the wrestling fandom who balk at the idea of juxtaposing backbreakers and box office, but at its core, professional wrestling has always leaned on the tropes of Tinseltown: heroes fighting villains, edge-of-your-seat scenarios. Heck, a good wrestling storyline should follow Torodov's narrative theory, which is, of course, as we all know, equilibrium, disruption, recognition, reparation, and new equilibrium. This segment well and truly leaned into the melodramatic that has been the foundation of sports entertainment. The Bloodline's exaggerated energy paid homage to the theatrical roots of wrestling. Andre the Giant ripping the cross from Hulk Hogan's neck en route to WrestleMania 3. Paul Bearer braining The Undertaker with his own urn at SummerSlam 1996. Vince Vince McMahon and Steve Austin's aggressive grandstanding moments before their rating-smashing Raw showdown in 1998. Just 3 examples plucked from the past when WWE have reached for the Hollywood stars to great effect. Roman Reigns' designs on a move into movies isn't a secret either. He's dabbled as Mateo in the well-received Hobbs and Shaw, and the less-known tattooed meathead in the 2020 David Spade movie, The Wrong Missy. His current wrestling schedule is the most relaxed it's ever been. Already 1 foot out of the wrestling door as far as some are concerned. You kind of get the vibe from feature-length Friday night fragments like that one that he is sharpening his thespian toolset for the next big job. Maybe the wrong Missy too, Missy harder. Hey, Hollywood bants aside, the performances of all 5 in this extensive segment earned plaudits from backstage and from punters. Of course, a cluster of Twitter twants and Facebook Fed pipers don't count, right? Social media is, in case you've not figured it out yet, an echo chamber that throws stuff towards you that align with your views for the better. Given the trial of Roman Reigns, almost half of a 2-hour broadcast, it's surely going to be a ratings wipeout. Well, the results came in after the weekend and were shared by Andrew Zarian and WrestleNomics. Over 2.5 million pairs of eyes were glued to Fox as Roman faced his judgment. Just shy of 1 million of those pairs of peepers were in the key 18 to 49 demographic. This is up 2% from last week and an incredible 21% from the same time last year. When it comes to radio, at least, which is my wheelhouse, they say that week-on-week figures are vanity and year-on-year figures are sanity. So to show boosts both ways, and especially compared to 2022, this is the dream. This is the highest that the key 18 to 49 has been since the 2020 pre-pandemic days. Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics adds the second quarter of last Friday's SmackDown, the middle of the Reigns solo Uso segment, averaged more than 3 million viewers. Higher than any wrestling quarter hour in recent memory. Even if this unconventional chancery wasn't your cup of tea, it is impossible to deny that for many, many people, this was the tea they were sipping with gusto. Long-suffering wrestling fans like me may see 3 mil and be utterly unimpressed. After all, didn't The Rock's This Is Your Life segment get 8.4 million in 1999? It did. But in 1999, our avenues for entertainment were far narrower than they are now. To get 3 million watching wrestling at a time where we have instant access to every TV show ever made, 1 million podcasts of varying quality, YouTube channels for every niche imaginable, 1 billion social media connections, and a bottomless well of new content across platforms that you've probably not even heard of yet, is a heck of a showing. When The Rock was being serenaded for what we thought was his birthday, everybody was famous for 15 minutes. In 2023, everybody is famous to 15 people. So by those optics, it's a hell of a showing to get 3 million pairs of eyes statistically. Now, it's proof of concept that in the era of 5-second attention spans and 10-second TikToks, the art of long-term storytelling has not been lost. The Bloodline saga is one that has been front and center on Friday nights for over 3 years, beginning properly whilst the world had been shut down by COVID. Jey Uso's first revolt against Roman was rumbling whilst we were forced indoors. The Bloodline's thickening occurred while we Zoom called our families on Christmas Day. The Usos were falling in line as we were in lockdown. And as the pandemic becomes a horrific memory, we're seeing 2 top-tier WWE stars finally tasting their freedom. Maybe because this story became an element of our escapism during the darkest of all times. Maybe we relate to it more. Or maybe, just maybe, it's a really bloody good wrestling storyline. The pages will turn as the next chapter of the Bloodline Civil War opens in Detroit. Jey Uso will face Roman Reigns for the Universal title at SummerSlam. Based on all the available information, it is clear that this is a tale that will continue to be told for some time as it continues to make WWE history. Stay safe. Love you, bye.